22 beagles, puppies, are now scattered across the country, far away from the facility that bred them to become science experiments.
Animal rights groups call it a rescue. Ridglan Farms calls it a crime. Tonight, Fox 6 investigator Brian Polson joins us in studio to introduce you to one of the puppies in the middle of this conflict.
Now, you guys, that's right. This is 8-month-old Ivy right here. You see animal rights groups arranged for the Fox 6 investigators to meet her last week at a temporary location. She is one of nearly 24 beagles carried out of Ridglan Farms on March 15th by people like a college professor from Kohler who says she's never done anything like this before. For the first time in her young life, Ivy can explore the world outside.
Look at your little nose going.
Since she was born last summer, the purebred beagle has had no access to sunlight, no yard to play in. She didn't even have a name beyond the code tattooed inside her right ear.
You, is it 005?
Until the storming of Ridglan Farms set her free.
We have more people on the way.
Video recorded by activists and made available to news media shows that by the time police got wind of the break-in, the scene had already descended into chaos.
Brace, brace, brace!
Back up
before I start!
And right in the middle of it was Kate Prang.
You know, even my parents were like, what are you thinking?
She is an associate professor of graphic design at Lakeland University in Sheboygan County. We only recently learned Ridglan Farms exists.
And then I was like, oh my God, it's like 2 hours from where I live.
For 60 years, the commercial breeder in western Dane County has sold beagles to laboratories, where they are used to test things like the maximum lethal dose of a new drug or the effectiveness of a new vaccine. And while those experiments are controversial, they are also legal. But in early 2025, Dane County Judge Rhonda Lanford found probable cause that Ridglan had committed crimes of animal cruelty by allowing unlicensed staff to perform surgeries on the dogs without anesthesia. She appointed a special prosecutor from another county to investigate. But instead of filing criminal charges, he cut a deal, allowing Ridglan and its owners to avoid charges if they close the breeding operation for good by this summer.
If they didn't do anything wrong, they wouldn't be closing in July.
You felt criminal charges were warranted, correct?
Yes, I should mention at the top that they remain innocent until proven guilty.
Speaking at the time on the Fox 6 podcast Open Record, La Crosse County DA Tim Grinke said he had no authority to seize the more than 2,000 dogs still at Ridglan Farms because the crimes he was tasked with investigating had occurred in the past.
There wasn't an ongoing situation where animals were being tortured, being abused, that we needed to save the animals today.
And if they won't, then ordinary people will.
So animal rights crusader Wayne Shung took matters literally into his own hands.
It is not just our moral duty, it is our legal right to give aid to animals who are in distress.
He publicly advertised plans for a so-called open rescue, and Kate signed up to help.
If I don't do something to help this situation, what kind of person am I?
Even if it meant she might go to jail.
But you knew the risk.
I did.
You knew you could be arrested.
Yes.
Does anyone need an armband?
As volunteers gathered in Madison on March 15th for what they thought was a dress rehearsal, Kate's team had already breached the farm's perimeter fence. They live-streamed their effort to bust open the doors, and for several minutes, those efforts failed.
We just stood there and thought we're never going to get them.
Eventually, Shung grabbed a sledgehammer and smashed through a vent fan, allowing others to climb inside.
It was like a movie scene.
Oh my God.
Lisa Castagnazzi was there to help carry the dogs out.
One came out a window, I grabbed it.
One by one, the activists plucked beagles from their cages, slung them over their shoulders, and made the long trek back to the nearest public road.
If I could erase this memory, I would.
The hardest part, Kate says, was leaving the others behind.
Those little eyes just waiting and wanting someone to pick them up and take them out of there.
And it sounds like that haunts you.
It haunts all of us.
She carried one of the dogs to a transport van waiting in the road.
Shut the back!
And then saw a sheriff's deputy removing a cage from the back of that van and tried to stop her.
All I could think about at that moment was save that dog.
Hours later, Dane County Sheriff Calvin Barrett made an announcement.
off of our information at this point, all of those dogs were recovered.
What he did not yet know is that activists had surrounded a pickup truck.
We were able to kind of stop him, stand in front of his truck.
Go, 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 Alexis.
Allowing just enough room for at least 2 of the vans
Now's your chance
to get away. Ridglan Farms declined our request for an on-camera interview for this story. But on the day of the break-in,
we're, certainly disappointed.
Spokesman Jim Newman made a public appeal.
While you may have concerns about dogs being involved in research, I think we can all agree that attacking family farms, going after research labs that are studying cures for cancer, etc., that should be of concern to all of us.
Save the dogs! Dane County deputies initially detained or arrested more than 24 people. 5 spent the night in jail before they were released.
I wish this was more about those dogs than us.
Deputies returned 8 beagles to Ridglan. 22 others got away, including Ivy, who is still learning to navigate life.
Good job. Come on up.
Outside a cage.
I don't feel like this is done.
Less than a week after his release from jail,
We got a plan to go back to Ridglan Farms.
Shung published a new plan to break into Ridglan Farms again. This time he says he wants to send 2,000 people in for the 2,000 dogs still inside. They can't arrest and jail us all, he wrote. Ridglan calls that plan dangerous and unlawful.
People might not understand. I get that.
Kate sees it through different eyes.
If you have a dog at home, look into the eyes of that dog. Ask yourself what you would do.
After declining multiple requests for an on-camera interview, Ridglan Farms did send Fox 6 a statement for this story. Regarding the March 15 break-in, it reads in part, "No court, agency, or investigator has ever made a finding of animal cruelty. In fact, the special prosecutor who led the investigation of our facility has publicly referenced significant amounts of misinformation and untrue claims about Ridglan Farms." Now, regarding any future illegal actions, the statement says, in part, extremists are attempting to convince otherwise well-meaning individuals to join them in dangerous and unlawful actions that will likely lead to jail time, court proceedings, significant legal fees, and criminal records. We encourage tremendous caution in doing anything that might amplify these efforts. You can read the full statements at fox6now.com and on Fox Local.
So, Brian, this happened March 15th. Has anyone been charged?
No, not yet. In fact, we have heard from the sheriff, Dane County Sheriff Calvin Barrett. He was not going to talk to me about any of this, but did issue a press release about a week ago. The sheriff's public information officer writes that, quote, "Several people from outside our community committed crimes, including trespassing, criminal damage to property, and burglary." That statement says charges will be forwarded to the district attorney, but here we are. It was March 15th when this happened. We've seen nothing yet, so those charges still to come.
These dogs were not bred to be pets. They were bred for medical experiments, right?
For scientific experiments, lab experiments.
Is there any concern from people on either side that they might not make good pets, or those who have them, like the little one we saw there, they're like, no, this is my
I don't
dog.
think there's a direct transition from the life they've lived there to someone's home, but there are activists or rescue groups from across the country who say they're lining up to socialize to prepare them for adoption.
Gotcha.
If that happened. They've reached out to Ridglan Farms and said, we'd like to help you with that process. They've been told Ridglan Farms is not interested.
Before I let you go, I have to ask, is anyone concerned that someone may end up getting hurt?
Well, certainly Ridglan Farms is concerned about that, and I think the Dane County Sheriff has expressed that as well. I know the activists keep repeating this is nonviolent. It's direct action, but they don't intend any violence. But when you see what happened the day they had 60 or 100 activists, what might happen if there were 2,000? Who knows? It's certainly an unusual situation, and I guess we'll have to see if, in fact, they go through with this. I don't know, you call it a plan, a threat, whatever it is, to go back in with 2,000 people.
Certainly confrontational.
Absolutely.
Okay. Brian, thank you.